Hi everybody, it's Jessica from Chambray Blue Sewing and welcome to my closet. These garments are what I'm going to show you today. These are my best makes of 2022, kind of a year in review. I used to do a monthly video of the monthly makes and I kind of got off track this year. Several of the things I made took several months to make and that sort of got me off my track. So I decided I'm just going to do a review of the whole year and you can see kind of an overview of what has transpired this last year. So 2023 marks the 6-year anniversary of my business. I have been blogging and YouTubing and teaching and making patterns and all the things for 6 years now. It's hard to believe. That's kind of crazy. Personally, I've gone through a lot of upheaval the last couple of years, lots of moves, lots of transitions. So we're finally settled, and I feel like this next year I might really get some traction with where I'm going. So lots of things to share, so let's get started. So the first one, I don't know if I actually made this last fall or the fall before. After a while things kind of blur together, but the pattern was made earlier, but this particular garment was made early in the year last year. I was going to be teaching this at one of the sewing expos, sewing and quilting expos, and in the end they ended up canceling my class, so I didn't really do a lot with that project. The original project looked like this. That's the one the pattern was based on, and then the remake was lighter colors. This was pre-quilted fabric. This was fabric that I quilted and did the lining on. You can see, hopefully here, contrasting stitching in the lining. So there's a couple different ways to do it. They're all in that pattern. It's called the Red Dragon Quilted Vest. On my website, I will put the link in the comments below. So that was the first make. So I did a lot of teaching last year at different sewing expos across the country. First time in a few years because of the pandemic. And this year I've decided I'm not going to be doing that. I'm not going to be doing as much traveling. I'm just going to stay closer to home. So you'll find me producing more video content and courses along this year because I'm kind of refocusing what I've been doing on that. But along with the expo was the Jasmine zip robe. It's a class I taught with the Sewing and Stitchery Expo out of Puyallup. It was a virtual expo last year. It's going to be in person in 2023, but I will not be there this time around. This is one of the things I made. So this robe is zip front. It's made of fleece. It has a big gargantuan zipper in the front. And the thing I love about the zipper is that it's really made for outerwear, but it's got two ends on it, so you can unzip it at the bottom and the top. I don't wear fleece a lot in our climate. I'm in southern Alabama, so it's quite warm. But once around the wintertime, I really need something cozy to wear, and I really love this robe for that. So this last year, I also began selling some paper patterns, and that robe is one of them. So this is the Jasmine zip robe. You can purchase these on my website. I do mail internationally. I also have a digital copy available if that is better for you, depending on where you're from. But this is the first time I've really done paper patterns, so those are available. Link will be in the comments for that one. Next up are pants, linen pants. So I love to sew with natural fibers, and I made several pairs, including some shorts actually, which I didn't even think to pull out. But these pants were also part of a class I taught at one of the sewing expos. They are 100% linen. This is the Joleene linen pant. It has two options for either a drawstring waist or just an elastic waist. It has pockets, and they're kind of a crop length. And I love them. I wore them all year last year. I made them in several colors. I made a green pair too, and they were great for going on vacation and traveling. I have a method of pre-treating the linen, pre-washing the linen, which is in the pattern. I think I did a video on it as well, so that it's not real wrinkly. Like these just were pulled out of the dryer and put on a hanger. You know, they are definitely not wrinkle free, but they're super comfortable, and I love the linen. I have not printed patterns for this as of yet. If you're interested in a printed pattern for this design, please leave a comment and I'll see what I can work out for you. Besides that, I have lost a lot of weight this year, so actually none of these things that I'm showing you actually fit me right now, so I have to decide, do I want to remake them or just start with something fresh? Probably start with something fresh. That's just kind of who I am. So, moving on. Another item another class I was teaching at an expo was this for this beach wrap cover-up. So this one was made from a batik fabric. Super simple. It's got a drawstring waist, which goes all the way across the back. It's really cute, over shorts, over a bathing suit, whatever. This pattern is exactly the same as this one. So this is what I call the topper wrap. And this version is made of wool. It's a Pendleton plaid that I use for this. I believe this fabric is still available on the Pendleton website. It only takes about 2 yards of fabric to make this. This pattern is available also on my website. I love the versatility of it. In fact, I wore this today. It's really easy to just take it off and wear it over a sweater or a jacket just for an extra layer for a little bit cool. Air conditioning can do kinds of crazy things when you need things to wear. So there's that. All right, so let's talk about failures of the year. I think I should do a whole video on all the things that I made that I absolutely hated. Actually, a couple of them I don't even have. They just went in the bin right away. But this is one of them. This was the Ditsy Tulip skirt, which was originally a maxi skirt. I tried making a short version in this little chambray fabric. I love the fabric, but it looks god-awful. Like the best thing about this skirt was the flare at the bottom, and when you make it shorter, you lose all that. So it just looked terrible. And besides that, it is now ginormous, and I can't even wear it because it's so huge. So, big failure on that one. Okay, the pattern that I never got around to producing was this one. This was a summer project. I wanted to do something with smocking. Smocking has been such a big thing this last year. This is a smocked yoke. It's smocked by hand. Well, I shouldn't say that. It was on the machine. So little by little on the sewing machine. And then I went over it and did some contrasting stitching. I don't know if you can see that. There's some pink and purple rows of contrasting smocking stitching on top of the gathers, which was also done by a machine. It's got this little tie in the front, which was just a bunch of embroidery floss that I twisted together to make the little tie bow. It's got a cap sleeve, a few gathers in the front. The rest of it is quite simple. And yes, I hope that this will be one of the patterns I'm producing for this next year. I adore it. I wore it a lot last summer. It took a while to do all of this work up here and to kind of figure out how that would come together, and I kind of lost interest after I did that. But now when I pull it out of my closet, oh yeah, that looks really great. I should really do something with that. So that is on my list of things to do this next year. Let's talk about swimwear, or more in particular, swim dresses. So I am at the age where I do not want to be flaunting my rolls of fat on the beach. I'm just one of those people. Can't imagine why. So I wanted something with more coverage when I go to the beach. And I have seen designers like Lily Pulitzer and some other designers coming out with these longer garments that cover absolutely everything, and yes, I love it. So this is spandex fabric. I love the pink camo. I think it's so fun. I put a zipper in the front, and it is a swim dress. So the only problem with that is that you still have to have something to wear under it, because yes, when you're in the water, woo, the whole thing goes up. So I do need to make some swim shorts to go with the swim dress. Last season I just wore it over my existing swimsuit to try it out, and I really like how it worked out. I've got several compliments on it. I made a hat to go with it, which I don't even know where the hat is. But anyhow, this will be another upcoming pattern for this year. So that brings me to some more challenging projects. So I kind of got to the point where I felt like everything I'm doing was sort of the same, and I wanted to take it up a notch. I wanted to learn some new skills. So I decided to tackle the French jacket. This is the French jacket that I made. It took me about 3 months to complete. It's almost entirely sewn by hand. There are a few things that are hand machine stitched, but very few. It is the Chanel style jacket, as you may recognize that. Surprisingly enough, it doesn't take a lot of fabric. It only takes 2 yards of the outer fabric, and then, plus the lining. The lining is quilted to the outside. It's got lots of interesting details in it. It was a super frustrating project. I love how it turned out though. Fabric I purchased from Britex Fabrics out of San Francisco. Buttons I had in my stash. Trims were also purchased from Britex. It's 2 layers. One is braid, and then the other is a grosgrain ribbon. All of that came from the same place, and even the thread that I used, I ordered at the same time because I wanted to make sure that everything matched. Because sometimes you can't always find colors that work together. The satin I actually had in my stash. That was one I had. But the pattern for that was designed by Claire Schaefer. It's a Vogue pattern. Let me grab it here. And that is Vogue 8804. That's what it looks like on the envelope. It is still available. I love the way it fit. One of the criticisms, which we'll talk about in a little bit, that I've gotten this year is that I don't fit my garments well enough. And that's partially because as a larger person, I don't want things to fit tight. I'm just that kind of person. I don't want my rolls to show. So I decided I needed to work on that. And this is part of why I chose this project. I also wanted to learn some new hand skills. And being that this is all a hand sewn garment, it's very different construction. And I mean radically different construction than anything else I've made. So in some ways it was very frustrating. This particular fabric is a rayon polyester blend and doesn't poke well with needles. It was very, very hard to work with. All these little flecks of black stuff are so difficult to pierce with a needle. So it made this whole project just really, really frustrating. If I make this jacket again, which I think I might, but I would definitely use 100% wool fabric. That would be easier to use with a hand sewing needle. This just wasn't. But I do love it, and that's what that is. Okay. So last spring, I made this dress. This is the pattern available on my website. It's got a huge 3-tiered skirt. It has an optional belt, and I love it. It's perfect for summer. And I'm drawing a total blank. I cannot think of the name of the pattern. Oh my gosh. I'll post it in the comments. But it's very comfortable. It's 100% cotton. It does take a little bit of time to sew. If you have a ruffling foot, that is really helpful, sewing all these ruffles together, because it's a lot of fabric. It takes about 5 yards of cotton fabric to sew this one. And why can't I remember what this dress is called? Ugh, it'll come to me. Anyway, that's that. Then I have been obsessed with Hawaiian prints and Hawaiian shirts. So we went to visit Key West a few years ago, and I just loved all the tropical things there, all the Hawaiian shirts, all the cool stuff. There was one fabric store that I visited when I was there. It's a little quilt shop. You should look it up. It was absolutely adorable. It was all beachy colors and Hawaiian prints, and I just was so inspired. So I decided to put some of that into what I've been working on. So I have 2 Hawaiian shirts that I designed. This is the men's version. It's called the Key West Hawaiian shirt. Comes in sizes up to a 5XL for the big guys. It has pockets, which you can make them so that they open, or you can do a faux pocket if you like, depending on your preference. It has a 2-piece collar and short sleeves. button front, and it is all around just the basic Hawaiian shirt. My son loves it. My husband loves it. They've been fighting over the shirts that I made. This is another one. Fabrics. This one came from Hawaiian Fabric Mart. I think they're sold out in this color, but they may have some other prints that are very similar in stock. It's beautiful fabric to work with. 100% cotton. I absolutely love it. He gets compliments whenever he wears those shirts. So then I thought it wasn't fair that the guys had a shirt and I didn't. So I made one for us gals. This is the Dahlia Hawaiian shirt. The difference between the two is, of course, that the women's shirt is more fitted. Pockets are, again, optional. There is a yoke in the back. Come to think of it, the guys has one too. So they are essentially exactly the same style, but the women's shirt is more fitted. That's really the only difference. And I do have some of this fabric still on my website. If you're interested, you can grab that at a discounted price. This is going to be a video class coming up on my channel here sometime soon. And then I decided to get into doing some different pants. So along with the hand sewing, I learned so much from that pattern of Claire Schaefer's. I decided I wanted to do some for other patterns. So among them is this pair of pants. Is called Vogue 8652. Another Claire Schaefer pattern. These have a wide leg style, no waistband, and a French fly. And that really interested me. I'm like, what is a French fly? And no, that's not a food. But it's a hand-done zipper application in the front, and I love it. These are so fun to make. It doesn't take that long. It's just got a little bit of hand sewing. The inside is lined, so it's not a fully lined pant, it's a partially lined pant, so that means the lining only goes down to about your knees. It's got some pleats in the front, which is great for camouflaging the big tummy. And the French fly includes an inside button and then a pick stitch along the top of the pant. So about this point, this was late last summer, I decided to enter a contest called a Make It With Wool contest, and this was one of the garments that I submitted to that contest. I'll do a whole separate video on that, but this pair of pants actually won the division. So living in Alabama, we are not a wool producing state. The contest is more or less for people in wool producing states, but you can still enter it no matter what state you live in, but it's just a different category called at large. So I took first place in the at large division for the contest. This was the winning pant, and there's a jacket too. I'll show you in a few minutes. But I made two pairs. I made the beige pair for the contest, and then I made a pair of hot pink. This was sort of the trial, the toile, I guess you could say, of the pattern. I wanted to see how it fit and if I liked it and all those things, and I did. I absolutely loved it. I loved this wool I found at a thrift store, believe it or not, and it just made the most beautiful pants. And I love the wide legs. I'm that girl. I just love wide leg pants. So to go with that, this was an item I made 2020, around there, maybe 21. I don't know. I don't even remember. But I haven't worn it because I didn't have anything to go with it. And lo and behold, this wool matched this jacket just right. How's that? So this is made from a silk chiffon with some navy blue panne velvet trim, which was kind of hard to sew the two together because one is stretch and one is not. But I did it anyway. And then the point I'm trying to make here is I finally got around to making the tank top that goes underneath. So this is just a super simple tank top. Just a folded over edge with my, what I call my faux cover stitch from my sewing machine that is on my channel here. It's kind of a trick to make a cover stitch when you don't actually own a cover stitch machine. And I love how the three of these work out. I still need to take some photographs of the whole outfit put together, but I count that as a win because it's been like 2 years and I actually finished it. I finished something. That's so exciting, right? Okay, so this blazer is the jacket that I submitted for the Make It With Wool contest. That is made from pattern 2134, Vogue 2134. It is a Ralph Lauren pattern from, I want to say it's like 1984 or something. 88. Okay, so you can see on the pattern, it's got huge shoulders, like football player type shoulder pads, which was so big back then in the day. And I actually love that because it works well for my figure. I have sloping shoulders, and when you build up the shoulder with a shoulder pad, it gives you kind of a taller look, and it just really works well for me. It always did back in the day. So I found this pattern and I thought, I want to make one of those. And I learned so much from making this pattern. It was also very frustrating at times. So this is the first time that I've really done a fully tailored garment, which means I used hair canvas. I did pad stitching in the collar. First of all, I haven't made anything this tailored in a really long time. Fabric is cashmere Glen plaid from Textile Fabrics in Nashville. The lining is satin charmeuse from Mood Fabrics. And I just really put a lot of time into this. It took me a good 3 months to make this jacket. And it has its issues. It did well in the contest for the first round. So this was this and the pant were the winning items in the at-large division for the Make It With Wool contest. I will do a whole separate video on all the details of that, but the jacket turned out pretty well. There are some individual problems. It doesn't hang the way I think it should hang, and part of that is because I did some alterations to the shoulder at the last minute, and I think that kind of made it wonky. Yeah. Anyway, they liked it for the contest. It did not do well at the national level. I didn't place at the national level, which is fine. But like I said, I'll do a whole video on that with more information if you're interested. But classic tailored style, and I want to learn more about that and do more of that in the next year. All right, this is another Vogue pattern, and I forgot to pull the envelope for this one. This is an evening gown. It's Badgley Mishka. Has the zippers in the cuff and at the back. There's an invisible zipper here in the back. I just made it as a quick make for something fun to wear for the holidays. It's supposed to have a whole skirt to go with it. Hopefully I'll get to that this next year. I don't recall the pattern number offhand, but it's been a really popular pattern, and it is still available on the Vogue website. That is it. That's the whole group of things that I have made this year. Oh, actually I have one more to talk about. This one I don't actually have with me because it was a gift that I made for my son. I had some cashmere and I made a wool vest for our son, and he loved it. But I don't have it here to show you. So that is another make that I made this year. So all in all, I think there was about 26 garments. So generally I try and make several things a month. But this last year, like I said, some of the projects were much more time consuming than I had anticipated. And so I didn't produce as much as I have in the past, but I feel like the quality is going to get better and better. You know, I'm learning more. I'm trying to step outside my box a little bit and learn some new things. So I would love to know which of these projects was your favorite. How many projects you made last year? Let's talk about that. How many projects you failed at last year? Believe me, I could do a whole video on the ones that went in the bin and never saw the light of day. So I'm with you on that. But that's all for now. There'll be more videos coming up on my channel soon. Be sure and like and subscribe. I am only 155 away from hitting 1,000 subscribers. We can do it. Come on, guys. Share with your sewing friends, okay? That's all for now. Thanks for watching. Bye.